of it
It's
and
this,
legged it. I don't know which way you would have legged it, but
well, I would have. We did leg it that way. I know that when configuration of how we jumped off, we went across, probably across the nose and toward. I'm not sure was there a ditch. Whether we thought there might be a ditch, but
the ditch is literally the other side of that hedge. But back then, that hedge probably wasn't there.
No,
it could have been a fence, and you could have jumped across and then straight into the ditch.
no, we didn't get in. I don't know that we got into the ditch, but I know it went that way. We went as far as we possibly could, I suppose, to get away from things. Now, whether you went halfway over there or not, that's hard to tell. But I do know it jumped off of the up to the top hatch, and getting up to that top hatch, crawling, jumping my shoulders back, going up that heavy with all your equipment on it, trying to pull yourself up. I probably had help. The radio man and the engineer, they're young, a couple of young guys with sergeants. And I think I went out before they did, but I'm not even sure. There were three of us that went out that top hatch, and then the pilot and Purves, who was the co-pilot. He was the one who was being checked out.
So Louis McCarthy, the pilot.
Yeah,
you rated him as a good pilot?
Oh, I thought he was an excellent pilot. Up to that time, we hadn't had any problems. I never had any worry about flying with him. It was whether he worried about me getting him back. But just dropping from that height, if you know about B-24, it's quite a drop. When you're a young kid, you don't think about any injuries or not. You know,
well, it must have. I mean, in my vision of doing what I've been doing with the wreckage I've picked up from right over there to here, they must have obviously have had some vision of the ground to have been able to have put that plane down in a controllable manner.
I don't think he did.
Really?
I don't think so. No, I don't think he was high enough that he got any control.
45 feet was the altitude that they reached.
25?
45 per the altimeter.
So
by the accident report.
I wasn't sure, but
no.
Usually we come down off the couch, as I said, the navigator, come down, and we had to crawl alongside the front gun for the nose wheel, up into my compartment, also the front gunner into his. And he would have preceded me along, but yeah, 45 didn't take you long to get up there, and so I was just a few seconds up. That was our usual procedure, you know. As soon as you got altitude, what kind of altitude you got down. But
so where was you in the position on the aircraft when she came down? Was you still behind the bulkhead?
I was right behind the pilot.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I had a nice little couch there, and unfortunately, the navigator was checking out. Decided he didn't want to ride there. He wanted to ride in the waist. That's how he got hanged up. But the guy that was standing right next to me in what I'd call a well in the bomb bays back here, he's the one who got thrown in the back. What I can't quite understand, and when I talked to Mac a couple of weeks ago, he said he checked all of the May West to see how many we had, and I'm not quite sure that I agree with that, because I don't know how he would check Becker. Becker had to be thrown in the bomb bay, and or even get get the other two. The only ones he would really know where they should be, maybe this is what he referred to, is the five of us that were up on the flight deck. But I don't think he would have known what happened to Becker. I don't know. I didn't even look to see. You know, I was kind of, and probably couldn't have seen Becker, who was standing there. Haley and Carl Lindquist, they were all back in the tail section. And
they was back in the tail.
All gunners.
Back in the waist.
Right, so they would have been thrown forward and just.
Well, don't know how they would have been thrown around, but McAdams survived, one of them, and the other navigator survived.
Foreman.
At sea.
Yeah.
That was, you know, Haley.
Robert Foreman, wasn't it?
Yeah, Foreman was Prejeant's navigator.
Okay, he was the one.
That you were giving the check ride to.
Yeah,
just like McCarthy up front was giving Prejeant the check ride.
Right.
And they threw all the switches.
Right.
After the plane probably stopped.
And
then, 7 minutes later, the plane exploded, and you know it burned. And I know Chaz has given me some melted aluminum from the crash of the Beast.
Okay.
And that's a piece of it I've carried in my pocket ever since he gave it to me.
Okay.
You know, that when I see that, I tell myself, well, you know, if I've had a bad day, it's never been as bad as what these guys experienced. But he gave me that, and also a whole run of melted aluminum because the plane just caught on fire.
I will say this, and I wouldn't say it was never a non-Christian, but I hadn't got, my parents were Anglican, but they hadn't had a chance to go to church regularly, and I didn't, but I had always felt myself as a Christian, and I think maybe that what happened after that changed me a little bit, and I did go into, when I got sent up to Fort George Wright, I became very good friends with Canon Cripps, and I was baptized again there, and from then on, my wife was a Baptist, and when we went down to California, I was baptized there, along with she'd been baptized, so we were married by a Baptist minister who became a very good friend for many years, and through the years, I don't know how many different Presbyterian churches we've been with, but I've been a member of the session. I don't know if you know what a session is. A session's a ruling body of a Presbyterian church, and they you have a 3-year term, and I'm now serving my 6th term, and as a session member with me as well. She'd been a deacon as well before.
Just behind us.
I got to the church tower.
Oh, I'll have a look at the church.
Oh, there. Once they don't fall down the hole. Rumours that there's tunnels from there to Putnam. Yeah. Rumours. But whether it's true or not, I don't know.
Yeah, got a load of it.